All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. It is Wednesday, October 2nd, and it's 2024, I think. And we are here live in the City Council chambers. This is a special meeting of the school committee and City Council for the purpose of filling 2 vacant school committee positions this evening. And for those who are just tuning in and maybe not totally familiar with how this works, that is how we appoint school committee members if there is a vacancy before the end of the term. So that's what the purpose of this meeting is tonight. We're joined by both members of the school committee and the City Council. The clerk will call the roll.
No, I was just going to say Megan McGrath just texted me. She wants to be added in as a panelist.
As a panelist. Oh, if someone on Holyoke Media is listening, Meg McGrath Smith is, I think she actually might be a panelist now. Hold on.
Yeah, Devin's there.
Just kidding. I'm going to make her a panelist. And Izzy. Okay, hold on.
I got ya.
And
He's on there now. Yes, sir. What's that? Resumes.
all right, all the Zoom
Yeah,
things.
thank
The
you.
Zoom things are good.
Those.
There's resumes up here if anyone needs them.
I think they're just.
All right. Now I think we've got all the humans that we need. So with that, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson Burgos,
Here.
Bartley,
Mayor.
Devine,
Thank you.
Here.
Givner,
Here.
Rainey,
Here.
Jourdain,
Here.
McGrath Smith,
Here.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Here.
Ocasio,
Here.
Israel Rivera,
Ocasio, Jeffrey Rivera,
Hold on.
Oh.
Please hold. Okay.
Israel Rivera,
here,
Jenny Rivera,
Here.
Sullivan,
Here.
Bacon,
Here.
Collmore, Garcia,
Here.
LaFave,
Present.
Rivera Colon,
Here.
Sheehan,
Present.
Tinsley Williams,
Present.
Wellahan,
Here.
Wilson.
Present.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so we do have members who are on Zoom, and while I don't think we actually need to do this, I'm going to do this to avoid any confusion. I would entertain a motion to take a roll call vote that for the purposes of this meeting would be applicable to all motions to receive, to refer items to committee, remove items from the table, place items on the table, package items together, comply with the items, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. And just for the record, this is being recorded on Zoom, and we are live streamed on the city's public access station and the website, and it is being translated. So thank you, everyone. I'm joined up here on the podium by my co-chair, Mildred LaFave. So we're going to be your co-captain cruise directors this evening. And tonight we have decided that we are going to vote on candidates in the order that resignation was received. So the first resignation that was received was Ward 4. We will invite any candidates this evening to speak, and we can ask questions and all that good stuff. And then the clerk will, whoever has the most votes, the clerk will swear that person in. And then we will vote on the Ward 1 counselor, and the clerk will swear that person in. To the candidates this evening, I want to thank you all very much for putting your name in to be considered as a school committee representative. Coming from, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but as an elected official, it is really hard to put your name out there, and it's intimidating, and this whole process in and of itself is wild. So thank you for your commitment to Holyoke. Regardless of the outcome, we truly appreciate your commitment to the city and our city's students, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be here this evening. For those of you who will be putting your name in today, I encourage everyone to introduce yourself. We're going to invite you in to introduce yourself. Just, who are you? What do you do? Why are you running? If a question that we just recently had a lot was if you're planning to run again in November when the seat is open, and if you have the capacity to attend meetings, all that good stuff, whatever you think that we should know about you as a candidate, those are just in the past historically, those are the questions that have been asked. So for our counselors here this evening and for the community at large, tonight we will be choosing candidates based on a majority vote. And it's not the typical city council majority or school committee, it's both of us. So there's 21 members of the body in total. 11 is a majority the first time around. 12 will be a majority the second time around when we vote on the second candidate. So whoever gets that amount will first is the person that's appointed, and then the clerk will swear everyone in. And did I cover everything, Mildred?
Yeah,
Okay,
you did a great job.
thank you.
Give her a round of applause.
Oh, we don't need that. I'm not worthy. All right, so with that, is there anything else? We're gonna just dive right in because I want to be
I
mindful.
had just one procedural question.
Sure.
If I might. First procedural question is, why isn't it still a majority of the two bodies combined, as opposed to why would it be less votes necessary on the first vote than the second vote? There's still 10, 13. So I'm just trying to understand, why does that matter that how many are present, how many are filled or not?
Oh, right, because it's for the full body.
Yes, ma'am.
So, one of the things that we just clarified is because it's 2 empty seats, the school committee is now based on an 8-person school committee, not 2 because there is no seat there. Kind of what we did at the last one but obviously it was 12 because we weren't missing 2 at one time. Once that is done and you vote in the first one and they get sworn in, they now have the capacity to participate and be the one to vote for the second seat.
But I think Councilor Jordan's point, if I
That's
may.
where it goes.
There's 23 seats and you need a majority. I mean, it's supposed to be, why does
There's 21 seats
13 plus 10?
plus.
8.
Well, the 8 occupied, but the point, there's 10 on the body.
Right.
Okay.
So my point is, I don't
Not a
think
big deal. So it's 23 either way. So then it's the
12.
majority of 23 is 12. Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is that cool with everyone? I think that's what we were trying to go for.
Okay.
Because it's the full body, not those present and voting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. And the other thing I just wanted to ask you about was the whole voting on, I can't remember a time where we had 2 of these in one night. The logic behind that the person will be sworn in for the Ward 4 seat, and then that person's gonna start voting on the Ward 1 seat. The logic was that person resigned first, so ordinarily, we would have had that one, and then the other one. Is that why we did that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. I think the school committee actually discussed it in one of their public meetings, the last one you guys had. And that was kind of, because initially when the first person resigned from Ward 4 and didn't know if someone else was resigning. That was just the approach to take. Whoever resigned first, we'll just do that one first.
Okay, all right. Oh, the only thing I'll say that I don't object, but I'm just saying is the candidates now for Ward 1 don't theoretically know who they were supposed to be lobbying for that position. So it kind of leaves them at a slight disadvantage, the people running for Ward 1 today, because they don't know. I don't know if that was all explained to the candidates for Ward 1, that the person that gets voted in for Ward 4 tonight is going to have a vote that they could have been theoretically lobbying them for their vote tonight. I don't know if that was explained to them or not.
Okay, well, so this just seems to make the most sense. If in the school committee's policies, the person would be sworn in, and it just seems to make sense to swear someone in, as we did last time, as soon as it was done. So that's the approach we're taking. If they've been elected by the body, we're going to swear them in right after they've been elected. Otherwise, they sort of lose their opportunity to engage in their capacity. Yeah, right. Mayor Garcia.
No objections either, and obviously I'm going to support whatever the chairs support, but point well noted, and I didn't really we think about that, so I think, next time this happens, we need to really, let's definitely remember that we should be doing that. So as a point well taken.
Yeah, only that if that was the ground rule, I don't know if anybody else got a memo, like this is how it was going to roll out or whatever. I didn't know that we're going to swear in the Ward 4, and then I just figured we're going to fill 2 seats, and that was it. I didn't know that was the game plan, but.
Well, we tried to come up with a game plan, and, this is, like you said, we haven't.
Very rare.
Yeah, we haven't done this, so that's just the approach that we're taking.
In fairness to you, had we gone in the order that we would have at one point in the past filled the Ward 4 one first. Say we did it as 2. So I'm kind of thinking we just sort of did it the same night, but all right. Thank you.
Anyone else? No, it's okay. So first up, we will. Everyone's got these the resumes, and hopefully has had a chance to review everyone. So I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna go based off of literally what's here before me and calling folks up. So first up, I have Dorothy. Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, Dorothy McNeil, do you want to come on up here? Are you here? Hi.
Where do you want them to speak from, here? Or
Actually, yeah, if Councilor McGrath-Smith is going to be zooming in, if you'd like to have a seat, you're more than welcome to come in. And the only thing I'll just say is make sure that this goes for all of our candidates. If you are talking into the microphone, just make sure that the green light is lit and speak very clearly into the microphone. Even if it seems like you don't need the microphone in here, the folks at home need you to speak into the microphone. So welcome, Dorothy, and please feel free to introduce yourself.
My name is Dorothea McNeil, and I have been a resident of Holyoke since 2005, but I have been involved in things going on in Holyoke for most of my life, and I have been in the law department for about 5 years. I worked for Old Holyoke Development Corporation for over 20 years. And so I am very familiar with Holyoke as a city. And if I want to go all the way back, my great-great-grandparents moved here in 1863. They came from Ireland in 1851, and they moved in here when they were hiring Irish. What can I say? And I really love this city. I love its history. I love the people in it. and I think I could do a good job. For those looking at my resume, yes, I do have a rather interesting background for for what I have done. I am an attorney, but I am now in an active status. Right now, I am in charge of religious education at 2 parishes. I've done this at various parishes for a while, and I find it extremely fun. I do other things as well, and also I am on the Board of Election Commissioners, which, as I understand, if I become appointed to this, then I will have to resign from that position. Is that correct? Which is okay. But, and I was interviewed for a job once, and the woman who was interviewing me said, "What characteristic do you think mostly describes you?" And I thought a while, and I said, "Common sense." And she looked at me and she said, "Nobody's ever said that to me." But it is, to me, I think, the most important thing in whatever you do in life, to look at things from a viewpoint of someone who is ready to learn, ready to find out about things, ready to get to know people, and to truly use the common sense that God has given us to figure out what is best to be done. Not what seems best, not what looks best, but what truly is the best to be done. And that is what I would do if I were appointed.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we will open up questions. I encourage counselors and school committee members, if you do want to ask questions, I encourage you to consider asking the same question of everyone. It just kind of levels the playing field, and obviously things might come up, but that's just something I'm going to encourage. So first up, I see Counselor Greeny.
Yes. Thank you.
Just can you speak into your microphone?
Thank you, Attorney McNeil. Just a couple of clarifications on your resume, just for the public out there. College Our Lady of the Elms, MAAT. Could you tell us what that is?
At Our Lady of the Elms, I got a master's in theology.
Okay, and a site coordinator, PCALET. Could you tell the public what that is?
And I got a Juris Doctor from Boston College Law School, and I got my bachelor's from UMass.
All right, the site coordinator, PCALET. What is that acronym?
Huh? Oh, that was a while ago. I was asked to be in charge of a tutoring program in Springfield, Massachusetts, and Brightwood School, I believe, and that's what they called themselves. It was a while ago, so I don't know exactly what it means now, but I had a lovely time. And it was to help children to become more, to help them learn better in their reading, writing, and arithmetic. And there were various teachers that I worked with, and an awful lot of children.
Thank you.
And we're going to take turns, so next is a school committee question.
School committee member, Mr. Wellhand.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your resume. What's your availability for making our meetings? We meet regularly twice per month.
I could do that.
Plus the subcommittee meetings.
I am pretty sure that I can do it. I'm told they are on on Mondays, and I can make meetings at 6 o'clock-ish on Mondays, so.
Thank you.
Great. And then up next is a city council question. I have Councilor Rivera had his hand up.
I actually have my hand up for something else, but I can ask a question, and that's fine. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I totally appreciate you applying. Any act of service within the community is really appreciative, and is, in my humble opinion, is a kind of act of grace in God, to be honest, because I've been doing it about 3 years and some change, and I've learned a lot in this process. But I think for me, it's the experience, and you have extensive experience, and I saw your resume. It's pretty extensive and awesome resume. I think for me, where I would like to know a little more about is your experience in working with underprivileged and underserved communities, similar to Holyoke, and specifically around. Sorry, I have a baby crying in the background, but specifically around kids with special education, because I think for us, what we are missing, well, not missing, but like are trying to gain some strides in making sure our services and providing the best that we can for the kids that are going through the special education services. And the numbers continue to grow for us within the district, whether we kind of want to admit it or not. And that's something that I think that for us is eventually we're going to have to tackle. And I'll ask everyone else the same question, just out of respect for everyone else too. But thank you.
So you would like me to answer that question? I will do that. I actually have 2 children, 2 of my boys, who were diagnosed with ADHD. The thing is, and I know the thing about children, about people, is that they all can learn. All they need is people to help them in the right way and to understand that whatever it is that they have, this is not an impediment. It is a different way of learning. And to encourage them to learn as much as they can, to do as much as they can, to dream as much as they can, not to be put in special ed and told, okay, this is where you're going to end up for the rest of your life, kind of thing. The fact that children learn differently, they look at things differently, is because we are all different, and there are ways to help. That's point 1. Point 2, yes, I do think that there should be an increased interest in children who learn differently, but I think it has to be with the assumption that all of those children will be able to become members of society who are able to give the best of themselves in whatever way of life they lead. If you start with that idea, then you will give children you will give them what they deserve, what they need, what they are entitled to.
Thank you. Up next is a school committee question.
Ms. Wilson?
Nice to meet you. So I have 2 questions, if that's allowed. The first was, we're asking everyone, would you run again if you are appointed tonight? Would you run in the next election?
When is this next election? She asked wonderingly.
Next November.
Okay, yeah, I probably would. It is something that I believe that as far as I know, I can do, and it's something that I would do.
And my second question is, we have, depending on what subcommittees and what action we're taking at the time, we can run between 3 to 6 meetings a month. It's not just the full school committee meeting. We all are on 2 subcommittees. So I'm wondering what's your availability with that, because they are not on Mondays. They can, vary on the evenings of the week.
I believe, as far as I know, I can. I mean, some things do happen, but in which there are conflicts in my life, but not very often. And considering that you don't meet in the afternoons and you probably aren't here after midnight, I think I can probably manage it.
Hopefully not.
Jealous of that life, that school committee life, yeah. I have Counselor Sullivan up next.
Yep. Thank you, Dorothea. I have just one question. What's your opinion on random locker searches?
That is a really good question. I think I would like probably more information, but I know that there are a lot of problems that can arise in school between, especially, of course, in the older years. And I think that if students and parents are told that there will be random locker searches, and they are aware that for the reasons for it, that it should be allowed unless there is some kind of state or city or federal law against it. But in these days in which we see young people getting access to weapons, to drugs, to other things, it is unfortunately sometimes necessary. But as I say, the first thing is to make sure that parents know it, the students know it, the teachers know it, so that hopefully they won't be stupid enough to put something in there, but also too many things are happening nowadays to not take measures against something really horrible happening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Yadilet Rivera-Colon.
Thank you so much for being here. That is a brave thing to do, especially now that we are getting out of receivership. And I hope that you have been following that. We had the opportunity to look at your resume, which was great.
Could you speak a little bit more into the microphone?
There we go.
Thank you.
So, thank you. And we had the opportunity to look at your resume, which was really impressive. But I would like to hear in your own words, what do you bring to the team, especially now that you are in the work of getting out of receivership?
Okay, well, first of all, there's the common sense thing, but we went through that. There's the fact that I have been to law school, that I have acted as a lawyer, that I have worked for the city, that I have a knowledge of how things work. Secondly, I have 6 children, 4 of them boys, sympathy cards accepted, and I do know children. I work with children. I have taught children. I respect children. I respect families. I respect parents, and that is something else I can bring with me. And I have the experience in my life of having worked with people, of having worked on committees, of having been in charge of things, and for those reasons, I think I can do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anybody else in here? No. Okay. Ms. Tensley Williams.
It's nice to see you tonight. My background is similar to yours, and what I've learned in life that if someone, say religious, I hate that word, but automatically you turned off. Oh, well, old school, but you know what I tell people, when the new school failed, come to us old school and we can teach you something. But I love everyone. I love all people, and my background is very similar. We had to read the Bible, but I don't try to put the hammer down on people. I'm not John the Baptist, maybe Rosalie the Baptist, but the point is, I love everybody, and I have an open mind. I'm not for what's wrong, no matter what it is, right and wrong. It was 10 of us siblings. My mom used to say, you kids know right from wrong, do right. So now she and daddy, they're in heaven, but sometimes I look up and I say, Mom, it's tough, but I'm doing right. So I really appreciate your background. And I love children. I write poems. I go into the school and read to the kids. So whatever you need, abuela, you need a grandmother, I'm here. Madre, I'm here. So I'm here for everyone. So I haven't turned you off because I see a lot of the religious stuff on here. In fact, I appreciate you. So what we need to do is keep an open mind, give everyone a break, a chance, and we're gonna do this thing. I've been on the board 10 years now. Children are my first priority. When you go into the schools and mow down all the kids with guns and things, that breaks my heart because I love children. I had a button made up, you mess with kids, you mess with me. So I said all that to say this. I understand your background, I really do. But I know we have to keep an open mind, listen to what everyone has to say, and then let's go for it. Because I'm the kind of person, take your ball and bat and go home because this game is over. So, you know, we're going to be okay. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you. And what I would add to that is that, as you can see, I'm Catholic. We use the word vocation. And a lot of times people think it means married, whatever. A vocation is what God is calling us to do. And if God is calling me to be here, I'll do it.
Okay.
As God is calling you to be here. But God is calling us to serve the students first.
Yep.
Parents next, teachers, and also teachers. But that's what we're here for.
And one another. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much for your time and for being here and for putting yourself out there. We really, really appreciate your support and caring for our city's children. And up next, I will call Orlando Isaza. Come on in. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. And just, state who you are, where you live, what you do. You've seen, how this process goes. So, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak with me about my interests, and certainly I'll be open to any questions or concerns that you might have. I've been in and out of Holyoke as a worker and as a resident since the early 1980s. I have been heavily involved in Holyoke in many capacities. I was the president of the Enlace board for a while. I was the president of the Housing Authority for a while as well. I came to Holyoke initially, I believe it was 1981, although my friend tells me it was 1982. I was recruited to start a mental health clinic for the new growing Puerto Rican community in town. And that was Crossroads at the time. It no longer exists. And I was being asked to be a clinician. And I essentially said, look, I would do this with a lot of care and attention and love, but I think mental health is heavily associated with poverty. And so I would ask that you consider the possibility of having me be half-time clinician and half-time community activist. So that began my work as a community activist in Holyoke. I was heavily involved in the early 80s with the alarming data from the state about infant mortality and levels of pregnancy in Holyoke. So we got involved in many activities, including the I guess whatever it was called by the state, the Infant Mortality Task Force. And out of that effort, we came to be the founders of the Prenatal Care Center in Holyoke. The clinic in the high school, for example, came out of that effort. The care center came out of that effort. And the beginnings of the actual modern Holyoke Health Center out of the old model cities down in World War I. I have a strong background as well in Boston, where I served in many capacities. One that is kind of interesting is that when Judge Paul Garrity, I think in 1976, took over the Boston Housing Authority, he asked me to be his special assistant for human services. So that experience was somewhat related to what we are facing here. My task at the time was to develop for the receiver a model for the transition out of receivership. And we worked on choosing, designing a model that would supersede the old activities of the Housing Authority, so we could move from receivership into a new and better organization. In terms of my education, well, it's my background as well, just I should tell you very briefly, if you don't mind. I came to the States in 1965 with a merit scholar, came out of somewhat of desperate poverty, and so that merit scholarship was an immense gift for me that was transformational, to choose that kind of word. So I studied sociology and economics as an undergraduate. As a graduate student, I studied initially at the Florence Hell School for Advanced Studies in Social Welfare, specializing in social policy and social planning. I transferred out of the Hell School into the sociology department at Brandeis, where I began my studies in sociology of medicine. And there I was a TA for various mentors and faculty, people who became friends for just, I'll throw out a name just because. If you know the book Tuesdays with Maury, Maury was my dear friend, my mentor, and my teacher. And I was his teaching assistant for, I guess, one course only. I don't remember anymore. In Boston, I was involved in housing. I started a model program in the Commonwealth Development program in Brighton that is actually known locally as Fidelis Way. And there we developed a program involving the tenants in a kind of a union in partnership with the administration of the Housing Authority. And that led to a rehabilitation plan that eventually we obtained funding from the federal government in the amount of $28 million to actually do a holistic, comprehensive rehabilitation of that housing project, which at the time was the one with the worst conditions in Boston. I have been appointed by the governors, several governors in Massachusetts, for various positions, and mayors. I should remind you, perhaps some of you know, I was an appointee of Mary Dunn to the Housing Authority, and that was an extraordinary, courageous move on his part at that time in the history of Holyoke to appoint me to that position, which I think it was Hamilton who replaced, was it Hamilton? I think one of the first acts of Mr. Hamilton was to remove me from the Housing Authority. So I have a kind of checker past I ran for office in 1987, and I was sadly defeated. So I am here because I love Holyoke, and I would like to serve in any position, and this being an opportunity at this time, I am glad to present my name for your consideration.
Thank you. We'll open it up for questions now.
One point of clarification. The resume, I know, is long and so on and so forth. It gives you the impression that it's current. It's not current. It's until 2010. And I have lived since 2000. I have done all kinds of things since then.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So this round, we'll have the school committee go first. Ellie.
Ms. Wilson.
Hello. Same two questions. If you're appointed this evening, will you run again at the next election?
That would be my intention. I hope with better luck than last time I ran.
And the second part of my question was, we have 4 to 6 meetings per month. That's full school committee meetings as well as subcommittee meetings. And would you foresee being able to give that type of commitment?
Yes, indeed. I mean, that again has been my experience on many boards and so on and so forth. I should make a comment here. I need to go to Peru with my wife to take care of my mother-in-law for 3 to 4 weeks in January.
Thank you. Thank you. You good? Okay. I have Councilor Sullivan.
Yep. Thank you, Orlando. Same question as for Dorothea. What's your position on random locker searches?
Sadly, I mean, I agree with just about all that she said. Sadly, the situation in the country is such, given the kind of fear and threat to the security and life of students across the country, I think it is important to do anything that would prevent any type of violence, of danger to the school population. I hope that's never needed, but I think it is kind of necessary at this point in history. However, I think the real issue is to figure out what are the best preventative steps to be taken before or concurrently, so that there is a comprehensive look and a development of a real substantive program to protect our children.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a school committee? Okay, go ahead.
Miss Tensley Williams?
Hi.
Hi.
You worked at the Children's Hospital in Boston.
Yes.
How did you like your job and what did you do?
It was brief. I don't think I was there for more than maybe 6 months, 9 months or so. I was asked to come in and develop a kind of a healthcare program within the housing projects in the city. And that's what began my activities later on in the housing project. I served as a translator for a research program on the ability or inability of thrive for Latino children in Boston. So that was in terms of my actual involvement in the hospital. That was to be an interpreter for families going through this research project.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I have Councilor Rivera.
Good evening. So I guess for me, the question is the same, right? Your experience, and you kind of highlighted a lot of this throughout your presentation, but your experience in working with underserved youth and underserved communities, understanding the population and the demographic we're technically working with, and at the same time also experience in advocacy and working with trying to help out or wherever we can fill in the gaps for situations regarding special education. I think for us with special education, it might be one of the largest issues that we might have to kind of like unravel aside from receivership. But for me, it's asking the same question and trying to get an understanding of the person that's interviewing for the position, where they're at with regards to that. And thank you for applying for the position.
Special education has been, of course, a major concern of mine for a long, long time. In the 1980s, again, when I was at Crossroads, I was the director of a project in conjunction with the school. Actually, it was a contract with the school department that referred to us as clinicians, children with special needs. So that was specifically in Holyoke regarding special needs. I was a professor at Carey College down in south of Boston, and that's a lot of actually the great emphasis and mission of that college is to work with people with autism and other kind of issues regarding disabilities. Have been a consultant to the federal government on special projects for the different states to address those kinds of issues. I guess that's just about all I can say. I mean, she said it well. What a lot of teachers do not quite understand or take into account is the different learning styles of students. And when you fail to realize that everybody, every human being learns in his or her own unique way, then success is a little more difficult to achieve. The other question had to do with working with minority communities. When I began my studies at Brandeis in 1965, desperately trying to get into the groove because I didn't even speak English, I became aware soon after that that there was a newly growing community in Waltham of Puerto Rican people having terrible problems. So I started a volunteer program in the college, students who then went into town to translate, to give some advice and guidance on employment, to do some educational activities, and in total, to respond to any particular needs that they might have. Out of that came a program in the Waltham Hospital, which recruited me to continue to work with the Latino Puerto Rican community, 99% at that time. And we started in the Waltham Hospital, and not only the same types of services, translating and education and so on and so forth, but we also started a prenatal clinic for the Puerto Rican population, obviously linguistically accessible to them and culturally accessible to them as well. And my whole life here in Holyoke has been really with working with the minority community. Again, my first job was with Crossroads to work with the Puerto Rican community, and in some capacity, in some ways, that's kind of at least 50 to 75% of my work throughout my life in the United States.
Thank you very much. Do we have school committee turn? Okay, Councilor Greeny.
Just quickly, Senor, the resume that says 2010, just a word, that's actually when life begins.
That's not what my wife would say.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Rivera, there are 2 questions left, so I'm just going to do them both, so that way we're faster. Thank you so much for being here. First question, how is your availability for meeting all the times that we're going to meet to be able to continue your work?
No, as I said before, other than my responsibility to go down to Peru for at least 3 weeks in January, hey, I am retired now. Free to, well, one of my activities in Holyoke still is I'm a poll worker, so I need to work with the lady here for at least in a couple of occasions here and there.
Thank you. Don't say too loudly that you're retired, because I'm the chair of 3 committees and I'm not retired, so think about that. So next question, what are you going to bring to our team that is going to help us in our way out of receivership?
Oh, goodness. A passion for education. I think education, my mother used to tell me all the time, that's a treasure, and it is the way to success in life. So I think education is just how can I put it, is a main factor of the well-being of any community. And in fact, part of what I think, what I would love to see is a plan for the education of the city, of the community, not just for the school system and so on and so forth, but really develop a plan, a program, or a set of programs to address the issues of education for the community, because that is the way to success, and that is what begins, I guess I should speak very personally, that's what, to me, in my own difficult childhood and teenage years, gave me the sense of possibilities, of hope, of possibilities that would bring a better life for myself and my family. So I think it is crucial that we, whatever we do within the school committee, for example, the linkage, the contact between the school system and the families become central to the mission, if it is not already, of the main mission of the school system.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm not seeing any other, okay, no other council?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before we go into the voting, I just kind of first wanted to say thank you to everyone who is here today that, again, as everyone has said, has submitted their names to serve the remaining term on the school committee for Ward 1 and Ward 4. I know a lot has been talked about in regards to the meeting commitment and everything, and I kind of want to emphasize the fact that those that are here right now that are currently on the school committee, obviously we've gone through the process of under receivership, and now we're working at getting out. And we're learning through that process for those of us who weren't here pre-receivership. But it's going to be even more difficult for the new members that are coming in, because you're coming in and having to learn everything at one time. So yeah, it is a commitment. The commitment of ensuring that we are working all together as a team, because no one person gets out of receivership. No one person is the one that drives the decision for us to get back local control. With that being said, if you didn't know, it is law that anyone who is appointed to the board or elected to a board for school committee, you must complete what's called charting the course. And that is learning your roles and responsibilities as a school committee member here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There are currently 2 more sessions of charting the course, which we would take through the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and this goes to the time commitment aspect. It's a whole day event, but the last 2, one is being held in Fitchburg, and I pulled it up just so that people know, and the one on October 5th is in North Adams, and the last one is December 7th in Fitchburg, Mass. So it's around the Commonwealth. The one that came here in Chicopee was months ago. But I just want to make sure that whomever is chosen, that you're able to make that commitment, because again, the state has their eyes on us. And not only the state, you have the city of Lawrence and the city of Southbridge, who is under receivership. How we do is going to set a precedent for any other district that is under receivership. So my goal, as well as that of the rest of the committee, is for us to make sure that we come out winning. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to take this moment to offer anyone else who might be here this evening, in this room, on Zoom, if anyone else is here that's a Ward 4 resident putting their name in for this position, now is your chance to come forward. All righty, I think we've covered that. So the clerk will call the roll, and
I'd like to make a motion to go to the first ballot, but could you just state the name, just for everybody's clear, the name of our 2 candidates again? Just
absolutely.
And then I'd like to make the motion to go to the first ballot to fill the Ward 4 position.
Okay, so the 2 candidates that we have interviewed and heard from this evening is L. Dorothea McNeil of, wait, I have your address, yep. Of 226 Beach Street here in Holyoke. We also have Orlando Izaza of 1198 DeWitt Street in Holyoke. So we're going to vote on Ward 4 first, and then after that, the clerk will swear them in, and then we'll go into Ward 1. So for those who are not familiar, though I think everyone should be because we just did this recently, you say the name of the person that you want. Thank you.
Anderson Burgos,
Orlando Izaza.
Hartley,
Orlando Izaza.
Devine, Dorothea McNeil.
Givner,
Orlando Isaza.
Graney,
Attorney McNeil.
Jordan,
McNeil.
McGrath Smith,
Izaza.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Orlando Isaza.
Ocasio,
Orlando Isaza.
Israel Rivera,
Orlando Isaza.
Jenny Rivera,
Orlando Isaza.
Sullivan,
Dorothea McNeil.
Bacon,
Dorothea McNeil.
Collmore, Garcia,
Isaza.
LaFave,
Sorry. Orlando Isasa.
Rivera Colon,
Orlando Isaza.
Sheehan,
Orlando Izaza.
Tinsley Williams,
McNeil.
Willihan,
Mrs. McNeil.
Wilson.
Orlando Isaza.
Orlando Isaza appointed on the first ballot.
What was, can you just, yeah.
13 for Orlando Isaza and 10 for Dorothea McNeil.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, both candidates. Thank you both very much for putting your name out there and coming tonight and taking the time. And thank you, counselors and school committee members, for asking great questions. We appreciate it. Would you like to step forward? School committee member. Getting sworn in. We're making it official. What? What was it? Oh, the clerk just wanted to clarify it was actually 13 to 8, which adds up for the numbers.
I had, that's right, I had 13 to 8, but then she said 10, so I'm.
Discharge the duties incumbent upon me. As a member of the school committee. Of the city of Hoyoke. To the best of my ability. And understanding. And agreeable to uphold the Constitution of the Commonwealth. And the United States of America. And the ordinances of the city of Hoyoke. So help me God.
Alrighty. And the work begins now, Mr. Isasa. So welcome. Nope, this way.
I love it. I wish it was like this all across the country. Thank you. Okay, perfect. All right. So, moving on, trying to get everyone out of here a reasonable hour. We are moving into the Ward 1 vacant seat. I've got the list of resumes here. I'm gonna ask people in the way that they've been stacked up here for me in no particular order. A reminder to folks, please just make sure you're speaking, and this kind of goes just for everyone, make sure you're speaking very clearly into the microphone, that the microphone's on, but also actually in front of you. It's not for us, it's for everyone at home. And to the candidates, please, when we invite you in, just, you can have a seat in the same open seat there and just introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. So first up in my stack of resumes, I have Gladys LeBron Martinez, 224 Elm Street. Come on in. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to see you all. Not at this type of seat, but this was my seat. Thank you again. We've had wonderful individuals who have gone and had the courage to come forward for such position. And I want to encourage them that this is not the last chance for anyone who didn't, who would not make it, including myself, of course, but that these opportunities are the greatest for us in this city and the democracy that we have in this nation to be able to run for office at any time. But for those who are at home and listening to this interview, my name is Gladys Lebron Martinez, and I've been a resident of Holyoke for the last 48 years. My oldest daughter's here. I came here in 1978. My other children are here, my grandkids, my partner Hector. And I've been here for 48 years. So within that 48 years, I have got myself involved at many levels. And I'd like to start by saying that I came here due to a job transfer from Springfield. I used to work for a bank, and they needed a bilingual teller for the city of Holyoke, and I became one of the bilingual tellers in this particular bank at the time. I was then recruited to work for Valley Opportunity Council, that I worked there as a program assistant, then became a nutritionist assistant. And there my journey began, where I learned through even the bank as a teller, getting to know my community as a whole, understanding the dynamics, understanding the politics, understanding everything you can imagine. And the great opportunity came when I worked for Valley Opportunity Council. They received a grant through the Department of Public Health due to an infant mortality issue in the city of Holyoke. Baby was dying within 28 days of birth. That's what their infant mortality. I met these wonderful leaders such as Orlando Isasa, Miguel Arce, Carlos Vegas, rest in peace, and the list goes on. And I became involved in the process as I was doing my own infant mortality field work for this research that was happening, to get it, to understand what are the other disparities happening in our community. And it triggered that I need to get really down to the nitty-gritty. Believe it or not, I came in, I lived at 510 South Street. The only means of ways was back in the days was you had to exit through the mall. And then there was a street that would lead you to Chicopee Street. The highway was 391 was in here then when I came here. And what did that mean? That I started visiting our local areas to understand where's the Latino community, because a lot of the issues of healthcare and disparities was happening in our community. And I needed to understand, for you to really work and support communities, you need to understand where the issues are at, right? The roots causes that. So I started meeting with people, learning from it. Thanks to the leaders that were in assistance here, engaged me to the next level. From there, I worked on DPH. This was a program actually directly, and wages and salaries of mine was coming directly from the Department of Public Health, were not even coming out from this company, which I mentioned already, Valley Opportunity Council. In 1989, Nueva Esperanza, because a lot of things were delayed at the time by being employed by the department directly, Nueva Esperanza took over this particular program called the Center for Education During Pregnancy. I'm trying to speed up because what's happened is that after the findings, the data came out, the ideas and the suggestion that the people gave was to open a storefront center where people on Hamilton Street, was located at 17 Hamilton Street in Holyoke. Women come here, get resources, and then there was other initiative happening, coalitions that took the data and developed programs such as Healthy Start, that it had to do with healthcare for women who were expecting. We then, from there, others worked towards opening a local midwifery services in town, because women who had to take or get access to health prenatal care, who were high risk, had to get on a bus and get to Springfield, to Bay State. This what led to open Providence Hospital as a maternal. And the list can go on with a lot of the efforts that came out of it. teen pregnancy coalition built in Holyoke. A whole bunch of other things came out of this effort. So speeding up, I was there 14 years with Nueva Esperanza. We served the community at all levels, substance abuse. We had SAMHSA grant. I developed peer programs for youth because I saw that even though we are tackling the adults and the disparities, our youth was being left behind. They were not being heard. From there, I remember commissions began in the city of Holyoke. I was involved, engaged in many of these levels of these coalitions. Speeding up, I left Nueva Esperanza back in 2021, when then you guys know that I then resigned for not running again because I accepted a position. So I left Nueva Esperanza, went to work for Mass Hire. I was there for 14 years working in workforce development, where I engaged with the community at many levels, business community, by placing youth in job employment internship opportunities, working with our schools. I ran an MCAS grant that served for youth who did not pass the MCAS to get remedial services, worked closely with the schools, colleges. Today, I'm proud to say, and I can attest to that, many youth ask me, do you need a letter? Or they'll send me letters. We have physicians today. We have nurses, youth who would have dropped out of school at the time that I re-engaged of youth who dropped out of school, considering to drop out of school because of NCAS back in 2003. We were the one with the highest numbers that hit the numbers in state of Massachusetts. And many of these youth, including my daughter, who today is a social worker and who had able to manage a $1 million organization at one point of a budget that at the time, because she didn't pass the MCAS, was not going to graduate. Eventually she did graduate because that was Gladys. Gladys would not give up. And that's what happened with my daughter. My daughter today is here. But this is the reasons of why I ran actually for school board back in the days in 2004, because of what I saw that was an unfair justice for children like mine that did not make it because a system that has nothing to do with Holyoke. It was a decision made by federals and states to use this MCAS system. With that said, working at the Mass Hire, I got to know and meet a lot of my parents, people who trusted me with sharing things that sometimes were not related to workforce. Could have been housing, could have been food security, could have been domestic violence. I mean, the list can go on, but I know the time is not available, but anyone after, can have questions for me. But from there, I just invested, and I have invested my time. Like I said in my letter, I have 4 children who graduated from our Holyoke Public Schools, 2 granddaughters who graduated from our Holyoke Public Schools. One is a nursing program right now, about to graduate. I have my grandkids who some of them were here, had to leave because they were making noise, and they said, Grandma, we're gonna go to your house, which is okay. So my investment is about the generations that are here, the generations who have left us, and that we continue to leave children behind. And not necessarily, I'm saying this as us as a city, but the state needs to understand this receivership. I was on the board when the receivership started. We still have a chronic absenteeism in our system. We still have issues that had to do with special ed. Our teachers need to be supported more than what it's happening right now. There's a lot of issues that are still lingering, and I'm glad that we're coming out of it, because now we can have a chance to work and vote on them before you have to rely if the state allows you or not, because you really don't have a voice. And this is why I'm interested. Even if I'm not voted in, I gotta let you know that my passion, I have grandkids involved in this system, and I will not give up. There's children waiting on a waiting list to get IPs in our city. This should not be happening because of lacking of staffing, and I respect that fact, but we got to do more. And again, throughout my board, and every time I sat on the board, I nourished a lot of the young people who sat on our school board, that we elected or appointed young people to sit in the board, to be able to feel and understand the politics of our communities, right? And I'm proud to say I was one who supported our mayor, previous mayor, Alex Morris. I was the first one to learn. He was the one who coming back to my town, and I placed him to work in my summer program every summer. He led it. He led the way. He led the way for many others. And proud to say that this is the product of what I did, and that I'm still proud of sharing anytime I speak. But at the same time, why am I here? Because I think that I bring experience. I'm a good listener. I'm an engager. Currently, I am working at Alianza Domestic Violence Organization, where I am going to be doing a community assessment in this community. Children are affected by the trauma of domestic violence that sometimes we wonder why someone may not show up with the children on Monday morning or sometime during the week. Why are they being absent? There's issues that are underlying the root causes that sometimes are not shed, And I feel that I have a lot to share and to support our families. And this is why I'm interested in this position.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. I'm going to open it up for questions. Is that your hand? Okay. Councilor Sullivan.
Yep, I'll continue with the same line of questions, and I'm going to spice it up a little bit, though. What's your position on random locker searches? And it's not just about gun violence. It's about drugs, alcohol, other prohibited items, vaping. There's other things that go on, and let's not all kid ourselves. I know it went on in 1972, and I don't think too much has changed over the years. So.
I'm always open to anything as long as we always bring education and awareness. I remember when MCAS came about, parents who just pulled their kids out because they got frustrated, right? I went and met with some people. I met parents and said, listen, this is not the end of the road. No, that doesn't mean that maybe he or she may not walk down the hall on June, with his or her mates on June 2nd. But we have a remedial course that by August, that person, if it goes through and we can appeal, demonstrating all the things that is required by the state, we can get him a diploma or her a diploma. The education came through, meaning the awareness, and that's what I did. And people came back with they encouraged for the children to continue school, to do what they had to do, including my own daughter. My daughter didn't graduate with her peers in June 2nd of that year. She graduated in August. That she was so frustrated, I had to put her on a plane for that month to give her the time and the space to go to Texas. I said, nope, you're coming back because you're going to be marching. You just passed your MCAS, that she had to retest again. And this is what you do. You continue to encourage communities, educate them about what they may not know. It's what you don't know. It's what you don't understand. And having children, having children and grandchildren in schools right now, definitely, I want search because I want my kids to come home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson?
Hello. So, I have two questions. One, if you are appointed tonight, will you run again at the next election?
Most definitely. It is part of the duties. If I understood that it was appointed, and if the community chooses me to do so, I am going to run again. I wouldn't have a problem with doing so.
My follow-up is, would you, as I mentioned earlier, there are approximately 4 to 6 meetings per month. Is that something that you are available to attend?
Yes, I'm available. I was semi-retired and took on this job. Was supposed to be a consultant, and they offered it to be a job, but it was only 24 hours. It's very flexible. I work around my schedule. And it's mostly meeting with stakeholders, engaging the community, and making sure that this assessment, when it's launched, that I make sure that it's covered the community as a whole.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, Gladys, thank you for applying. Good to see you again. I had two questions for you. One is, I understand that you're currently on the Housing Authority as a commissioner. Is it your intention to resign from that position if we were to appoint you to this position?
Yes, I remiss, and my commissioner, my president is in the back, my chair. She's still here. I didn't even mention that. My apologies. Yes, I am currently a housing commissioner. Again, I was an appointed individual there and then voted after. Yes, I replaced Ms. Miriam Quinones. Yeah, and that's it's known. And I did speak to our executive director that if I was appointed, of course, I would be stepping down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My other question is, as you know, sadly, in the last two elections in Ward 1, no resident, sadly, of Ward 1 took out nomination papers for school committee. You sound very passionate that you would run the next time. Is there a reason you didn't run in 2021 or in 2023 and take out the papers to run for this position? Unfortunately, we had no candidates.
As mentioned, I had accepted a position in the year 2022. I accepted it and began my work on March 1st of 2022. So I knew that I was going to be accepting this position. So for fairness of the residents, and that I feel that I did not want to come into any opportunities that I'm just piecemealing my support or my service to the people, that I rather step down and allow someone else and to run for office. And gladly we have Jennifer Rivera, a great friend, that happy that she's in my seat.
No, but my question was about the school committee. Was there a reason you didn't run? Because aren't you still in that position today? So you're saying that you stepped down because you took this other position, but now you want to go back into the school committee position? I just want to understand.
Okay, no. So
what's happening?
So I stepped down because I went into a job that I lasted 2.5 years.
Okay.
Okay, that job, I got laid off. The company sold their management over to another company, so I stepped, they couldn't afford me, so they let me go, and I'm okay. Then I stayed, my first time ever, taking a retirement of a 7 months sabbatical, I call it. And then I learned about this opportunity through the message our mayor sends out. And I said, oh, wow, interesting. I never said that I would never come back. When I left, my letter stated that I accepted a position and I wanted this position to be filled by someone who could continually be responsible for our resident services.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
So back to my question. What can you bring to the team that will help us in our road out of receivership?
There's several things that I would bring to the table. I think engagement of our parents, our students, appreciating education. I don't know, for those who do not know, but I was one who opened the first career center at the high school for Holyoke through Mass Hire. That was part of the collaboration, as I was seeing that our youth cannot understand the career path that they wanted to do, and that education means that they want to consider for college. So I thought opening career center there where we can serve inside and having people and having youth be assessed or students be assessed to learn and understand what are my learning skills, what are my passion for work in the future, college, wherever I'm heading, whether it be a vocation, whatever they may consider. I was one who was able to open a career center, and I know that it's closed at this point, but I bring personal information of my own family who struggle, right, through education. But as an advocate, teaching others, how do you advocate for your own, right? Because I think that's what's lacking. I think we sometimes, we can, and there may be language barrier, there may be economical, but poverty does not excuse a child to succeed or get an education. That to me is bogus. Anytime somebody uses this term, it irks me, because you mean to tell me that if 80% of our community would have been poor, that means these individuals do not get to graduate. That is bogus, and we have to stop using that language, because what it's doing is that we're internalizing and are believing it. My youth are believing that because I'm poor, I'm not going to be able to go to that college. Because I'm poor, I cannot succeed that career. Because I'm poor, I cannot complete a vocational. And again, I have 4 young adults here, social workers. We were not rich. I lived on a paycheck at the time. My husband, my children, my son, it was recognized nationally as one of the salesmen for a company that I cannot share because he told me do not use my company. But top salesman of United States in the country, as a bilingual sales individual from our public schools, Holyoke public schools, and I'm proud every time I go to places to say that. I'm a graduate from Springfield public schools, right? Hey, but you know what? And I go to places and people talk bad about Holyoke. I said, guess what? I have 4 who graduated. I have 2, 1 to be graduated nursing in spring, another one, others in college already, and the story goes on. 1 in Texas in college, and it's these things that I think our parents need to be engaged about and educated about, so that our purpose is not lost. That will be what I can bring to the table, and I would advocate, especially I've received while I don't know if anybody saw, I don't use the platform, and I want to make that clear. My platform of Facebook is to thank people, to congratulate people, because that's who I am. I'm thankful of people growth, so I thank for that. And I did use the platform to share my purpose. Again, I do not want to go into the details, but we have families here who are struggling with issues that they do not understand. Also, our political power, in a sense of systems, that they need to come and call your city council, they need to call your school board, and that's what I would bring to the table, to assure that if they cannot get addressed, they need to go through the protocol. Because anytime I've spoken to anyone, I first tell them, did you call here? Did you do this? Did you do that? And what happened? When they don't get a result, then I take on. Because I know you all have a lot on your table, of tasks to do. But that's what we're here for. We're supposed to be here to engage people, to help them break the barrier, to help them understand that child needs to be in school every day, that we have an attendance issue. What is it that we can do? Is it a housing? Is it whatever it is? There's a lot of resources out there we can tackle and refer them to. Thank you.
Thank you. I have 2 counselors in the queue. I have Counselor Devine, and then Counselor Rivera saw his hand first, and then Counselor Devine. Okay. I'm going to have Counselor Rivera go, and then Counselor Devine.
Hello. So I guess my question would be the same. You touched on some of this a lot. One is thank you again for applying. Thank you for some of the stuff you've done in the past too as well. Like others, you kind of set the path for some of us, or a lot of us, if we and I kind of appreciate it, to be honest. But I think one of the most important things for me is, again, to the question, is your experience in working within the communities, right? The demographic that we're working with, and at the same time, it's advocating or understanding the special education issues that we are navigating as a community within the district, and as well as understanding that it's continuing to grow, and what you would probably bring to the table as and I know you spoke on this a little bit, but with regards to that piece for advocacy and helping parents better understand navigating IEP processes and stuff like that. And thank you again.
Thank you. Great question. Let me share something that I'm trying to remember the the department that came here from the Department of Education from Washington, D.C. while I was working on Nueva Esperanza. There was a study that they came to Holyoke, Orlando, if you remember, that they were looking into why was there so many children and special education in the city of Holyoke. And at that time, I was one of the engagers and was the one who facilitated this meeting for the Department of Education that they needed to randomly interview individuals who have children in special ed, right? Today, we continue with the same issue. I'm talking now what? I just told you that I left the company of 18 years with mass hire, 2.5 years and another one, 20 plus 14 that I did there. We're talking 40 years ago. Special ed is an issue still in the city. My question to everyone who may be considering that question about what can I bring to the table is the question that we need to ask ourselves. Are we really assessing these children in the correct way to understand if they really have special ed education? And if they do, are we providing them the path to do so? I have a brother who special ed education through his kindergarten all the way till he graduated. Guess what? Back in the days when I graduated in 1978, they used to graduate you just because your attendance, because my mother used to make us, whether it rain, snow, whatever, thunder, you're going to walk to school, you're going to make it to school. So my brother graduated because he had 100% attendance rate. And guess what? Never learned how to read or write. Okay? So these issues of special education, regardless of what it is, could it be an impediment? Could it be an impediment? It's not a necessarily issue that you cannot make it. There's people who've made it. I read about people with special ed who are today are actors, that they had ADHD, you know, some of these terminology that I know Mildred is probably saying. This woman doesn't know the healthcare part, but I got it. I know what it is. My point is that even within my family, I have some. They sometimes joke about me that I may have ADHD, but that's okay. The point to this is that we need to, if there is an issue, address it. But to tell the parent that there's a waiting list so that we cannot do that IEP because we don't have a staff on board, because we cannot find the staffing for that, we got to go out of Holyoke and look for that person. I don't care where we got to go. And that is my plan, as what I can bring to the table, that whatever it takes for us to find that individual, we're going to find them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Devine.
Hi, Gladys. Good to see you.
Thank you, Patty.
I didn't think of asking this questions to the other candidates for Ward 4, but I think it's important to ask you, what do you think about cell phones, with the kids in school having cell phones?
So to me, cell phones, depending how you use them, because let me just say, I used to train 200 youth every summer. 200 youth at once at Holyoke High School. I used the school for the training of my placement in our community for the youth summer internship. The phone had a rule from the get-go. We had to say, okay, this is the deal here. The phones can use when I say let's research the city of Holyoke and see what job postings they have. Let's research what a administrative assistant does. So the reason of the technology, it all depends how we can set it off or set the rules and policies for youth, right? There's also some attachment. We have a rule in my house, they know. We come to the table, we cannot use our phones for dinner. You know why? Because I don't see my family as much as they wish they can, and when they come together, the last thing I want to see is everybody on a cell phone. So including my children. I say this because it's my grandkids who are on the table with tablets and stuff like that. So the technology with a cell phone, to me, it all depends how we're going to set the policies, right? But just because, and also bring the issues of why phones are also good and also dangerous. You take a picture of someone who has not given you the authority, you do something that is illegal. I think that's part of the policy that these kids have to read. In my group, we had a set of rules. You read them with me. We read them as a group in the auditorium. We are not to take pictures of anyone here without their authority. And you initially that you understood that. If anyone posted anything on Facebook on behalf with a picture of this youth, you're completely determined. The parents had to sign this contract. This is not me saying this. This is a real deal with me when I was doing this program. And that's how we held it down, that we never had a problem. I ran that program for 14 years before I left. 14 years. So that, with that said, and it worked. My youth never had to use the phone for any other reason, unless they had to call their parents. They had a time where they could call. They had a break at lunch and say you could use it at lunch. Half an hour lunch. If you don't use it within half an hour, that's it. And I got respected. So if I was able to manage at least 200 youth at one point for 6 weeks and year-round, because I also ran the year-round program, I didn't have a problem with that.
Thank you, Gladys.
Thank you.
Ms. Tensley Williams?
Hi, Gladys. It's good to see you. I agree with a lot of things you just said. Excuse me. I'm one of these people that put the rubber where the road is and put your money where your mouth is. A lot of times I'll say this to people, but I know I'm not running for anything, but I really appreciate you. Real quick, I go into schools and kids love my poems. I write children's poems. I never knew I had the gift till I got old. I'll be 80 in December. So I'm going to say one of the poems real quick, and just to show you that I go into the schools, so I believe what you're saying. We as adults need to go into the schools, not doing a lot of talking, but we need to show the kids. As they say, I'm from Missouri, show me, but I'm not from Missouri. But and so I'm going to say this real quick, and this is what I do when I go into the schools. Coloring books. Have you wondered why coloring books are so much fun? It could be when you color, the crayons do not run. Coloring books have so many pictures and lots of things to do. The crayon colors that they use, they're also pretty too. Coloring books come in all sizes. Some are large and some are small. When you finish coloring the pictures, you may frame them for your wall. When coloring time is over and you put the books away, put them where you can find them to color another day. And what I do, go into the schools, we'll color, and I'll teach them how to frame them. So that's what I'm saying. I go into the schools and work with the children. COVID kept me from going. I never caught COVID, but I stayed kind of like away from the kids. But I can't wait now to get back in there so I can be right with them, an old abuela, old adult, loving them and showing them that this is the way we do it. We love one another. The kids love each other. I want to teach the kids how to do teamwork. And then when we color, I'm going to bring coloring books to give them. We're going to color, and then we're going to frame them.
Thank you.
So that's what I'm saying. You put your money where your mouth is, and that's the kind of person I am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gladys.
Thank you, thank you. To talk about teamwork, a lot of my work that I did with the youth that I did with Mass Hire was that I did a lot of teamwork building in our community, and building is about politics. It was building about everything you can imagine yourself in one day, right? Today, I'm so glad to say that I stepped away from that position, that you had to manage this particular program with 200 youth. And who do I leave? A young man by the name of Manuel Cruz, who now runs that program because it's part of the leadership that I develop. When I do teamwork and I do work with my community, it's about leaving pathways for others. I don't take it for me. It's not for me. It's for others. So thank you.
Thank you very much. All righty. That's it for this round. Thank you, Gladys. We appreciate your time and your commitment to our city and for putting your name in. Up next in my package here is Maribel Ortiz of 101 St. Colby Drive. Maribel, you are welcome to come on in. Just once again, if the green light is on there, you are good. Your microphone is on, so just speak into the mic. And feel free, you've seen how this is going, so feel free to answer questions or introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Hi, my name is Maribel Ortiz. Okay. I've been living in Holyoke for the last 26 years. I work for the Holyoke Health Center. I'm not a person that talks too much. I'm very involved in the community. I do a lot of stuff for the community. I work in the Holyoke Health Center in a pediatric dental residency program. There are like doctors that are doing the residency here in Holyoke for 2 years. And that means that I deal with a lot of children. And there's a lot of need out there. That's it. I really am very involved in the community. I love the community. A lot of you guys know me. I don't talk too much. I don't have big titles. I just like to help. And I'm the person when you say do something, I'm gonna do it.
Great.
You guys can start with the questions.
If you're ready, whenever you'd like.
I'm ready.
Okay. Counselors and school committee, go ahead.
Ms. Wilson.
I do talk a lot, but when I'm comfortable.
All right, that's fair. Same thing with me. So if you run, if you're appointed this evening, will you run for the position in the next election?
I will. I'm going to be very honest. I'm involved in a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm a board member of 3 other entities. I'm part of Nueva Esperanza. I'm part of Beyond the Walls. And I'm also a member of the CPA. So I'm busy.
Which leads me to the next question. Being so busy, would you be able to meet the 4 to 6 times per month? That's most probably going to be required in the position.
I was listening that they are on Mondays, no?
Not always.
No, always. That might be a problem. Okay, I'm going to be very honest.
Yeah. Can I follow up? So the subcommittees are run based upon availability. Typically, we have our school committee meetings twice a month on Monday evenings. Sometimes we do try to have subcommittee. Well, if there's a holiday, it falls on Tuesday. Thank you. Otherwise, we try to work around others people's schedule to schedule our subcommittee meetings. So just so everyone knows.
Thank you.
If I have other meetings and they don't, honestly, that will be this committee will be more important for me. Okay. The other ones, they can wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Sullivan?
Yep, I think everybody knows what my question is going to be at this point.
Oh, yeah, I know already.
It's, how do you feel about the random locker searches? And
I do agree with them. I do agree with them because what is going on out there right now is very scary. And I do agree also with the parents know that this is, if you guys are going to do it, at least let them know that you guys are going to do it.
Yep.
For the parents to know, because I won't like, my kids to, girls especially, you guys going through their stuff is uncomfortable for some of them.
Well, I can tell you back in the 60s and 70s, we knew that there were going to be random locker searches.
I know.
Common knowledge. Thanks.
I remember in my 80s, they did that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Rivera-Colon?
What do you have to offer our team now that we're on our way out of receivership?
I have a lot of ideas. First of all, I believe in rules, okay? And one of the problems here is that the kids, they have too much freedom, okay? I have 2. I've been married for 34 years, and one half is 33, and the other one is 20, don't ask me why. But the first thing is, for example, we don't teach our kids to go certain way to school. Why you permit the kids to go certain way to school, and when you go to work, you have to dress certain way, I think that's respect. I think to church, you don't go certain, you have to know how to dress to go to church, no? I think that you should know how to dress to go to school. And we need to set certain rules. I believe in that. The other thing is honestly, a lot of kids, they are graduating without even knowing how to read. And that is incredible. And then they go to college, and the college, they say, what happened? How you pass school? What happened here? I have two kids. One of them, like the 33-year-old, she was accepted in Wheaton's College, that's in Boston. And she graduated with, like one master in neuroscience and a minor in art. And right now she's using the art to teach in school, and the stuff that she sees sometimes in there are incredible, the stuff that she shared with me. Okay, it's like too much freedom in the school. I don't know, when I was in school, I was not able to even talk back to the teacher. It was respect. And we need to start with the respect.
Thank you. Oh, we're gonna mute people.
Recording stopped.
I thought that it was a question.
Recording in progress.
We're good. Just a little. Okay, perfect.
That's
You all
what
set?
Yes, that's what I think I bring. Like new ideas and implement like new stuff and trying to like help the city to get back the schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Councilor Rivera. Israel Rivera, sorry.
Thank you. Disregard my daughter in the background right now. She's watching Spidey and Friends. The question again for me is, I know hearing from where you're working at the health center and all the other stuff with regards to working with the community and the demographics. So you kind of answered that. So maybe touch a little more on with regards to experience with working with special education and trying to get advocacy and around the special education piece, because it is somewhat of a growing, I wouldn't say issue, I don't like to describe it that way, but it is a growing concern within the district as numbers continue to rise. So if you can speak a little bit on that, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you again, and thank you for your service too and for applying. As a city councilor, I know it's not easy to sit in those chambers, especially when you're not accustomed to it. Like you, at first I was pretty shy, but now I talk a lot more. I try not to talk too much no more, but thank you again for applying and being a part of this.
I think we should be in school more prepared for this type of situations, because honestly, where I work, I have 160 kids in the waiting list to be seen in a hospital, because most of them, they are autistic kids. They have certain disabilities, and it's hard for me to sometimes find hospitals that they can see them, and sometimes they have really hard time, learning in schools. And I have a family member right now that is autistic, and it is incredible all the stuff that the mother of that child needs to do just to get what he needs. I'm talking about my grandson, and I get really emotional sometimes about it, but it is very hard. They close doors everywhere, and I told her, I'm sorry, but maybe go to the Chicopee school, maybe they can help you better. It's the same situation everywhere. I think it's a state problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
Ms. Williams? I can call her if you want to.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a bit stiff.
Standing up here is not fun, I get it.
Okay.
Ms. Williams?
Thank you for coming. If you don't win, we need you.
Oh, no problem. I will help.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I will help. That's one of my problems. I'm always helping.
I get that.
Don't take advantage.
Councilor Greeny?
Yes. Thank you very much, Ms. Ortiz, for showing it. It was just a pleasure to hear that we have people out there who believe in tough love, and that discipline is something that's very necessary for learning. And without discipline, no learning takes place. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? I don't see anyone online. Okay. Thank you very much, Maribel.
Thank you, Maribel.
Thank you for being so nice.
We really appreciate your time and your commitment to the city.
Good job. Good job.
All right. Last in my pile, but certainly not least, Victor Machado. Come on up, or come on in. Come on down. I don't know. welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Same as before, just introduce yourself, make sure you're speaking clearly into the microphone, and let us know who you are and why you're running, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you everyone for having me this opportunity. And also Lando, congratulations. And you are an example of never give up in this life. Thank you. My name is Victor Machado. I'm resident from Ward 1. Also, I'm the first homeowner.
Hold on, Victor.
Please hold. Dave, just want to make sure you're muted, Councilor Bartley. Okay, sorry. If you want to start over, if you want to just keep going.
Sure, thank you. I'm Victor Machado, resident of Ward 1. Also, I'm first homeowner at Edgewater Garden condominiums with my wife. And this is a great experience for us because living here for a long time and here in downtown and giving this test and buying a home is really, really helpful for many residents. And also, I have the experience as a community organizer and working with as a family engagement coordinator, consistently exceed expectations, showing dedication and hard work and proactive efforts and also innovative approaches significantly to contribute the program success. My commitment to improve the life of student and family, which has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. This opportunity led me to run as a city council of Ward 1. And this is a great experience that I get. And through volunteering, attending community meetings, completing business seminars, and working as a community organizer, I have gained diverse experience that have helped me develop a deep understanding of the issue of facing these communities facing. My experience assisting residents finding solutions to immediate needs and creating long-term neighborhood action plans have given me the skills needed to build trust and foster positive relationship with neighborhood. As a result, I'm better equipped to present not only the family and student, also the community, and also the school district. It's not only me. This is not about this position because we are technically working as a team, not only ideas that I can provide. And as a result, I'm proud of reputation that I have earned as a community leader with integrity to lead and energy to act is very important. Leading with integrity in this position because we are representing families and students in this war, and we are example and pattern to follow. And acquiring this opportunity, I'm committed to prioritizing first family, and also I plan to mobilize parents to take leadership roles so more parents in our ward can actively contribute to improve their children's education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor. We appreciate your time. I'm going to pause there and let folks, I'll open it up for questions. Ellie.
Ms. Wilson?
Here we go again. So, if you're appointed, will you run during the next election?
That would be a privilege to run again.
And as I'd mentioned previously, we have about 4 to 6 meetings per month, including both full school committee and subcommittees. Is that something that you can commit to participating in?
Absolutely. Also, I have a concern with those meetings because I like to be participating in the city council meeting as well because this is a great information for residents. And sometimes I can see in the calendar the school committee and city council meetings. This is like technically complicated and to decide which one I'm going to attend. So I think in the future we can think about how we can handle that calendar and the resident like me can attend both meetings.
Are you good? Okay. Councilor Sullivan?
Take a guess. What's your opinion on random school locker searches?
Well, public safety is my first concern when I run for city council. For me, also, we should support this idea because, how you said, it's not only guns, it's not only knife. There are many things like this youth population is facing right now, and taking measure about this is really important, supporting the school committee and that in regard of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Rivera Colon?
Same question. So what did you bring to our team that is going to help us in our road out of receivership?
I can bring to the table a knowledge, leadership, and also my role as a communicator, connecting families, connecting the community, my experience working in the flat community and also the church community. It has a great opportunity to bring to the table because many parents doesn't have the knowledge how the school committee works and how the school committee is doing a lot of effort to do the right job, and also bringing the knowledge of requirements and policies about examination and how it's the same job that I'm doing right now, orientating the resident about how the city council, how the school committee is doing.
Thank you. Councilor Israel Rivera?
Thank you. So a lot of my questions are similar to the community engagement piece, and you've already spoken on that, as well as on special education. But I forgot to ask most of the other people, but I'm just going to throw it out there now too as well. So for me, you've already spoken on community engagement and how you're engaged in the community. Again, sorry for my kids in the background. But speak more, if you can, about your experience with special education and your advocacy around it, especially it being a concerning issue within the community. And then now I think a piece for me that I kind of like am interested in learning, because it's the questions that have been asked, is what are some of your opinions on the school to prison pipeline too as well? And I thank you again for applying, and thank you for being involved as much as you are, because I do see you everywhere. I really appreciate the work. Thank you again.
Thank you for the question. My experience as a community outreach organizer with the program Homeward House brings me the opportunity to be present on the schools like Kelly and Lawrence, and this brings me the awesome opportunity to engage with the staff and the members, and we did a great partnership with the schools and how to work with this situation. This is not only a special children in needs. This is like more nutrition. This is like more and how we were talking about cell phones. So this is like complicated because there's a lot of gaps, like school committee and also residents can work with the parents as well, and we can use the resources that we have, because I believe Holyoke has a lot of resources for those kids, and we continue developing in that. The second question, I can hear well for the poor. So I think we should work together with many initiatives like Holyoke Safe Initiative. So this organization have a lot of resources, and also we have a juvenile court down in the Suffolk Street. So I can reach out, and also I can join my connections that I've been developing in the community. So I'm looking for resources. So it's the only opportunity that I can bring to the school.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you.
Again, we appreciate your time and your commitment to our city.
You're welcome.
Thanks for putting your name in. So I want to pause before we take the next step and just make sure that there's no one else in this room or online who is here tonight to submit their name as a candidate for the Ward 1 vacant seat. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. And I'll repeat the 3 candidates that we just interviewed. And when the clerk calls your name, you can give your preferred candidate, and whoever gets to 12 votes first will be appointed. So first we had Gladys LeBron Martinez, 224 Elm Street. We had Maribel Ortiz, 101 St. Colby Drive, and Victor Machado, 6 Arbor Way. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson Burgos,
Gladys Lebron Martinez.
Bartley,
Victor Machado.
Devine,
Gladys LeBron Martinez.
Givner,
Gladys LeBron Martinez.
Greeny,
Victor Machado.
Jordan,
Victor Machado.
McGrath Smith,
Maribel Ortiz.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Gladys LeBron Martinez.
Ocasio,
Victor Machado.
Israel Rivera,
Gladys LeBron Martinez.
Jenny Rivera,
Gladys LeBron.
Sullivan,
Victor Machado.
Bacon,
Victor Machado.
Collmore,
Gladys Martinez.
Garcia,
LeBron Martinez.
LaFave,
Gladys Lebron Martinez.
Rivera Colon,
Gladys Lebron Martinez.
Sheehan,
This is LeBron Martinez.
Tensley Williams,
Mr. Machado.
Willihan,
Mr. Machado.
Wilson,
Victor Machado de Jesus.
Gladys LeBron Martinez, 11 votes. Victor, I forgot his
Mr. Asazo gets to vote.
Sorry, you weren't on my list. I'm sorry.
Gladys Lebron.
So Gladys LeBron Martinez was appointed on the first ballot with 12 votes. Victor Machado had 9, and Maribel Ortiz had 1.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to reiterate that it is truly appreciated for everyone who has participated this evening. Yes.
So there's 2 things I want to say. First, people were speaking about the MCAS. We, the Commonwealth, have an opportunity to vote on that during this next election. So I urge you, whichever way you stand on having MCAS be part of the high stakes for high school graduation, please go out and vote. And second, I would like to wish all the Jewish individuals who are viewing here across the country and across the world, Shana Tova.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Motion to adjourn.
yeah,
Something else I was gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I was just wanting to make sure. And Gladys is going to come get sworn in after.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not speaking on my vote, but can I just say something to the people that are speaking?
As long as it's into the microphone.
No, I was just letting people know that, I'm happy you came forward. I would have wished you really got in because I would have still been behind anyone who would have won, regardless, because like I said, there's an investment in my family here. So I'm going to reach out to you. I would love to work with you in any way. So estamos juntos, we're here together, so this is not, you know, there's nothing to lose here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
well, it doesn't have to. Do you have to? You can. Yeah, come on up. Yeah. Here, come on up here. It'll take 2 seconds, and then we can adjourn. Thank you. There's a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Respectfully, motion to adjourn.
Well, we had it. Thank you.